Network Entertainment.
Some people could say that, oh, it's just subjective. Sinasabi mo lang maganda yan kasi taste mo. But no, it's not. Like, I think if you're a designer, you can tell what a good design looks like. If you're not a designer, it will look different from a standard of say, a designer. This is a coat of arms. It's not supposed to look like kung ano yung trending color ngayon, ano yung trending design style ngayon. It's not supposed to follow that at all. It's supposed to last for, as what you said, centuries. That's the mark of a good design. You don't need to keep changing it in every season and every era. Before logos were invented, there were already coat of arms. Parang it shows like what family do you belong, what country do you belong, 'di ba? And yung coat of arms din, yeah, it shows the history, it shows the background, it has a lot of symbolisms. And the seal is like kung ito ang coat of arms, ito ang seal. Ang seal is just like think of it as like a signature, like a company signature. The very first Filipino heraldist is Dr. Galo, the late Dr. Galo Ocampo. So, 'di ba, I talk about him a lot on my content because I'm so fascinated with him. He created the Great Seal of the Philippines, yung nakikita mo sa passport natin. He created FEU, the Manila City's seal, and pa ba? Actually, halos lahat. Parang siya yung nag-oversee ng seals natin. If you look at works that I did years ago, it'd be like, oh my God, parang cringe ka na, parang,
Welcome to Behind the Science podcast. New episode every Thursday at 7 p.m.
Magandang araw mga kapwa-siyentista at welcome sa isa na namang episode ng Behind the Science podcast. Ako si Paul Flores, ang inyong host, and our guest is a creative lead at Canva, leading video and social content design for products used by millions, with brand partnerships across some of the biggest names in tech. Outside of work, she's Yula Explains, one of the Philippines' top educational content creators, breaking down design, branding, and Philippine culture and history for a growing audience across TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. She also gives talks and design workshops across the Philippines, Australia, and the US. So without further ado, let's all welcome Miss Yula Araulio.
hello everyone. Sa mga nakikinig ngayon sa Behind the Science podcast. At thank you din, Paul, sa invite.
Ayun, so welcome sa podcast, Yula. So ngayon, this episode, break muna tayo sa typical natin na mga science or research papers na mga episodes. Kasi for me, isa itong underrated na topic sa mga scientists, no? At na-realize ko lang ito habang tumatagal ako sa science. The more I make yung mga research posters, yung mga figures sa papers and mga presentations, medyo na-frustrate din ako sa ginagawa ko kasi minsan ang pangit ng mga nagagawa kong figures. So ngayon, pag-uusapan natin ay more about design, specifically yung pag-design ng mga government seals. But I hope may mga matutunan tayo din ng mga concepts na pwede nating magamit sa mga future works natin. No? As I mentioned, yung mga figures, posters, blah blah blah. So ngayon, first question, kaano-ano mo si Atom?
Ang dami nagtatanong yan. Hindi, he's a distant relative, pero hindi kami close. Hindi ko, I'm not sure kung ano accurately, kung paano kami connected. Pero yeah, basta distant relative. But tinanong ko siya one time, how is he related to Manolo Araulio or Manuel Araulio. So parang siya yung usually basis namin kung paano malaman how related we are. Pero parang based on hierarchy, parang lolo ko siya. Ayun.
Oh!
Ayun na basta based on kasi like based on alam mo yung
Sa
hierarchy.
family
Kasi usually
tree,
sa Araulio, like maraming mga magkakapatid, ganun. Ayun. Don't know if that's accurate. But yeah, like I say, distant relative. So yun. Yeah.
Interesting. And so as mentioned earlier, you work sa Canva. So siguro can you share lang din sa audience natin? Can you talk more about ano yung ginagawa mo sa Canva?
Yeah. So I've been at Canva for almost 6 years now. Tagal na din. I'm a creative lead and I'm part of the video and social media team. So I oversee a team of creatives and basically lahat ng content that revolves around video and social media. Ayun. We we work on those things, everything that you see in the library, from the product itself. So we know how video is very important right now. So social media, and even like every piece of media that we consume is like a form of video. So that's something that we try to develop and improve every single day. Ayun. And we know that Canva is a design tool, diba? It's always been
Mm.
a design tool. So what we're trying to create right now is to understand the video experience, the video editing experience, and making that accessible to a lot of people. So yun, that's basically my role in Canva. So it's really more in the creative space, and it's like it's also a blend of may ano talaga, maraming technical aspect of it. It's not all creative direction. It's like I also closely work with a lot of the engineers to work on the actual tooling of the video experience in Canva. So yeah.
So part ka nung kasi sa Canva pwede na rin dun mag-edit 'di ba ng mga videos, yung mga vertical na
Yeah, that's us. That's
videos?
basically us. Yeah, that's
Nice.
basically my team. Ayun.
So yung mga pino-post mo sa social media dun mo din dun mo din ginagawa?
Some of them, hindi naman lahat, I would say. Kasi minsan, of course, yung mga sa, especially TikTok, mabilisan, magpo-post lang ako, ganun, tas text lang, ano na.
Hmm,
Alam mo naman sa TikTok, it's faster. So sometimes, sa TikTok mismo na ako
oo,
mag-shoot, tas post na, ganun. Yeah.
nice. Yung pagiging part ba nung creative industry, ito ba talaga yung kumbaga pinangarap
Mhm.
mong maging trabaho nung bata ka?
Um, ito ba yung pinangarap ko? That's a interesting question. I think I've always had an inclination for sure ever since I was younger. I think sa akin nag-start siya sa drawing. Yun talaga, like illustrating. So, nung bata ako, I love masaya ako whenever my parents would bring home scratch papers from work. Alam mo yun, yung mga scratch papers sa ano, galing sa office,
Hmm,
yung mga documents nila, tapos parang yun tas ano yung likod nun, doon kami magda-drawing.
oo.
Masaya ako whenever they would bring home like a fresh batch of scratch papers, tas parang unlimited, I get to draw, ganun. I think it started there. And then it just developed over years into different forms of, into different creative forms. So, yeah, but I think marami naman akong parang ano, marami mga side quest nung bata ako na I thought that I was going to when I was younger. I also wanted to be a journalist at some point. I wanted to be in theater at some point. So it's like, but I think ano, you could tell that it's in the creative ano din talaga, in the creative realm din talaga. So yeah.
So ano usually yung mga dino-drawing mo nung bata, yung mga ano ba 'to, yung typical na bundok tapos sun
Ah,
tapos mga plates?
I like drawing people. Ayun. As
Ah,
in, ano, naalala ko nung bata ako, mahilig ako mag-drawing ng comics. Yun. As in, gumawa ng stories talaga, like comics, ganun. Yun yung
ah.
kahiligan ko. And I like drawing people. Yun, people. Like, ano, hindi ako ma-landscape or like mountain or house, ganyan. People.
Ano 'to, talagang portrait na sketch ng mga tao or
Mm, mm.
ayos,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm.
So sino sino yung mga dino-draw mo nun dati?
As in, ano, like, fictional. Kasi nga, I like, before,
Ah,
gusto ko gumawa ng stories, ganyan, like, comics, ganyan. So, fictional, like, parang gagawa ako ng stories sa head ko, tapos gagawa ako ng comics, ganyan. David. Yeah.
so ngayon naman, so mahilig ka mag-drawing nung bata ka and then college, ano yung pinili mo naman na kurso nung nag-college ka?
Yeah. So, in college, I took up media production. So, it focuses on film and journalism. So, dun ako nagkaroon ng inclination din sa journalism. Actually, I wanted to be a nung college ako, like, it was, hindi mo siya goal, pero I really like documentaries. I mean, a lot of my batchmates that time were like, oh, they want to be film directors, they want to be producers, they want to be like writers, ganyan. Like ako, I want to be a documentarist. Like I want to be like um tawag dito, I wanna be like Jessica Soho, gano'n. As in like gusto ko pumunta sa mga ano, sa mga remote areas and then like, tawag dito, discover stories, discover cultures. Like I like the idea of that or unmasking societal issues, something like that. So, I was really inclined into that nung college, 'yun.
Actually, ikaw yung first nag-guest dito sa podcast na about media yung naging course sa
Hmm,
college. So,
okey.
can you share ano yung mga sa mga ano, sa mga kasi mga nerds yung mga guest, mga audience namin dito eh. So, can you
Mm.
share din kapag sinabing ganito yung course mo about media ng college, can you discuss din ano yung mga subjects na tinuturo sa inyo
Um,
dito and all of that?
mm. I think, ang dami, like, I would say, of course, creative writing is, an important subject then. You have to know how to write, script writing then. You have to know how to write scripts, you have to know how to write stories, broadcasting as well. We had, like, a few courses on broadcasting. Ano pa ba? I'm trying to remember kung ano ba yung mga courses namin. Pero ano, pero marami rin on, like, art direction. Marami rin on audio visual types of subjects ganon. So yeah, it's I feel like yung course namin was a little bit of everything. Some even argue it's like mass comm, pero parang based din kasi sa ano sa expertise and sa topics that our professors really focused on. Ano talaga siya, eh, it's like mas journalism leaning din talaga siya. Kasi all of them, kahit yung backgrounds ng mga professors namin,
Mm.
mga galing rin talaga sila sa journalism, mga nagtrabaho sa GMA, sa ABS, gano'n. So, yeah, I think, naalala ko nung 4th year ako, we did ano, eh, talagang we had to learn how to do like a show, like, how to do like broadcasting talaga, gano'n.
Ah.
Isa yun sa mga thesis namin. Yung thesis ko ano, again, my thesis focused on documentary, specifically in ABS and GMA. And besides the documentary itself, it needed to have a a film alongside it. So I needed to produce and create a film. Kaya ang hirap ng course namin kasi hindi ka papasa ng thesis lang, kailangan gawin mo rin yung film mo and you have to produce it, direct it, write it, and all on your own. So, yeah.
So tinuturo din ba sa inyo yung paggamit for example ng mga Photoshop, mga
Yeah.
ano pa ba yung mga
Parang ano
video?
yun, like, medyo that's like mga first year, second year yun. Kasi parang fundamental yun, kailangan. You have to learn the editing softwares. Hindi lang Photoshop, After Effects, but also Premiere Pro, even what's the audio one? Pro Tools, even ganyan for audio.
Ayos,
Yeah, tinuruan kami nun. Pero it's ano lang naman, parang I would say it's definitely like the fundamentals. It's really up to you if if you wanna get into it and if like you really wanna learn it more. Ayun. So kunwari Pro Tools, I learned it in college pero kinalimutan ko na, di ko naman siya nagagamit, 'di ba? Pero Photoshop, yeah, I guess like nagamit ko rin talaga siya. Ayun.
Curious ako sa binanggit mo na ano, naging thesis mo before about documentaries. Can you share more about it? Tungkol
Oh, okay.
saan yung naging thesis mo?
Yeah, I was really passionate about that thesis of mine. My thesis was something along the lines of like the representations of persons with disability in documentaries of ABS and GMA. Um, I I was really fascinated about how the PWDs were represented in the media. Kasi kung mapapansin natin, um, if PW if you have some sort of disability, it's like, kinakaawaan ka, and it affects how
Mhm.
people perceive you and how you contribute to society. And a big factor of that is how documentaries represent PWDs. So it was more on like an investigation of um how does it affect the perception of PWDs, and how does it also help the community, the PWD community. So that's what I tried to investigate both for GMA and ABS. Ayun. So, and I also created a short documentary based on that. Ayun. Yeah. Yan, generally yun yung yun yung study ko.
Mm.
Yeah.
So are they ano bang term, well represented or
It how do I say this? It varies then. Like it's a complex study, but I think generally what we uncovered is that no, it doesn't. At least during that time, during that specific year that I investigated it, it's yeah. It unfortunately there were terminologies, there were even words used on the script, and even like the voiceovers that were ano ba I wouldn't say discriminatory, pero parang nakakababa sa persons with disabilities. So, yun. I also like investigated the choice of words and the framing to the lighting to the camera angles. Kasi those things can add to that perception, 'di ba? Kumuha ka ng background music na medyo dark, na medyo sad, gano'n. 'Di ba it adds to the perception.
Ay, oo nga, may napanood ako na viral na clip nito dati na nakalimutan ko yung horror na kay MJS, tapos nag-play ka ng background ng Pepito Manaloto.
O, 'di ba?
Hindi na siya nakakatakot
Naka-add siya sa parang naka-add siya sa perception, gano'n. So, kahit fonts, 'di ba? Kahit fonts na, gumamit ka ng ganyang type of gumamit ka ng Comic Sans o kunyari gumamit ka ng Comic Sans sa seryosong topic, 'di ba? Seseryosohin ka ba? So, gano'n. 'Cause all of the visuals, even the audio, the tone, it adds to how the PWDs are represented. Ayun.
So from college naman, anong nangyari? Nag-work ka ba agad sa Canva or sa ibang
No.
company ka muna nag-work?
Ayun. Interestingly, nung college, kasi nung nag-intern ako, I interned, besides, so, diba, I was really interested in documentaries. And then, nag-intern kasi ako sa advertising. So, I also had like my first job in advertising. Tapos, I right after college, like I got offered agad basta sa ad agency. And parang siguro nung college kasi wala rin akong plano eh. Like parang medyo go with the flow din ako nung college. Kasi kahit ako parang hindi ko pa alam. Parang alam mo, hindi pa ako masyadong decided exactly what creative field I wanted to pursue. I think my family was very supportive of me getting into like advertising marketing because they think that it's more profitable. They think that it's safer kasi you work in an agency. So, pero ano naman, parang the opportunities that I got that time was more in the advertising realm. So, that's what I pursued. Tawag dito, after college. So, I became an art director after college. So, yun naman yung pinasukan ko talaga. So, I learned, and coming from college, I honestly don't know anything about advertising. Like it was para tang initiation by fire yung yung experience ko ng advertising na wow ganito pala yun. I mean, we had like digital marketing, we had advertising courses back in college, but it was very like introductory, diba? It was very lang parang it was minimal compared to, of course, the scope of knowledge that I have, say in journalism or even in like design. Ganun, if you compare to like advertising, it's quite minimal. So when I entered the advertising industry, it was like, oh, it was really I was really learning on the job. So ayun.
And then sa Canva, paano ka napadpad sa Canva?
Paano ako napadpad sa Canva? So actually, I really thought that I was gonna be in advertising na kasi since hanggang 2020, I was an art director and I was quite passionate about the work that we were doing in advertising. Although ano talaga, there were times na nakakapagod, talagang puyatan, ganyan. Gano'n naman yung buhay sa ahensya. And nung around 2020 or 2021 pala, sorry. Canva discovered me through Behance. So Behance is a platform for creatives, and you usually like share your portfolios and some of your works there. And so I had my portfolio there, and then I was discovered by Canva. And then they yun,
Nice.
tas they contacted me and asked me if I'm interested in this role, ganun. And yeah, that's what happened. So I wasn't really I didn't apply sa Canva. Um I wasn't even interested in leaving advertising. Yeah, kasi akala ko talaga yun na yung ano ko, after AD magiging ano na ako, magiging ano, as in like that's the corporate ladder that I was gonna climb like
Mm.
in the advertising. Tas parang Canva was just like, okay, this is interesting. Tech. It's a tech company. And then at first they wanted me to be on like the motion role, more on talaga video role talaga siya. But with my advertising background, they put me in partnerships. So, yun yung ano, so art director pa rin. So that's when I joined Canva. I was in the partnerships team. So I handled a lot of Canva's partners, ganyan. So a lot of the tech companies that you probably see in my
Mm.
CV, that's because of Canva din, because I handled those partnerships. So yun. That's how it evolved. Ayan, kaya 6 years na ako sa Canva ngayon. Ay, magsi 6 years na ako sa Canva ngayon.
Ano ang paborito mo sa office? Like, ano hindi ko maisip yung tamang word. Sa working at Canva, ano for you yung kumbaga parang best experience mo dito?
Sa Canva?
Oo, sa Canva.
Ano ba best? Definitely being remote is like number one the best. Like,
Ah,
malaking factor na hindi ka na nagko-commute, na hindi ka na, um, yeah, hindi ka gumigising ng maaga para mag-commute going to work. Na realized kasi before Canva talagang that really took parang it feels like it took years of my life, 'di ba? Ang pagko-commute
Oo,
papunta
pag-commute.
sa office at pauwi, like grabe pala yung nakakain niya na oras, 'no?
Hmm.
Yun, I think that's number one. I know that it's a luxury to be to be work from home, and it's a huge privilege to be work from home. Um, and also, ano pa ba yung ano, gusto ko sa actually, and the reason why I joined Canva naman kasi is because I feel like it really aligned with my goals and my values in life, which is like the the motto. The motto of Canva is empowering the world to design. And that really resonated with me. In every product that we create, in every content, in every design that we create, we always have that value, and we always have that motto. And it shows how Canva has grown as this massive um multi-billion dollar company. It's because of that. It's making design accessible to people. And if you notice, even the content that I create, it's really all about making design accessible to people. That's why I teach design. I teach logo breakdowns, marketing breakdowns, because I want people to understand the creative side of things instead of just like consuming it as is. That there's actually a lot of
Hmm.
thinking, and there's a lot of craft and effort behind these things that we consume. So yun yung ano, parang yun yung nag-resonate sa akin, I guess, more on like the company value of Canva, more than the for me, more than the perks, more than the more than the free food, and all of the quote unquote Instagrammable office. I think it's really that company value. So ayun.
So, nabanggit mo na yung logos, yung mga design. Curious din pala ako, may ano ba, technical definition yung difference ng isang seal sa logo or some
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things?
Actually, gumawa nga ako ng video kasi dami nagtatanong ano yung difference ng ano logo, seal sa coat of arms. So, ang coat of arms muna, I think that's the that's the best term for like even seals. Kasi ang pinanggagalingan ng seal usually is coat of arms. But the thing is kasi all of these definitions in the creative, in the creative world, it's used, parang it's loosely parang used. Kasi nga parang wala naman walang strict standard definition ang mga bagay-bagay sa creative industry. So, like, a school can call it a logo, but it's really a coat of arms, or like a school can call
Ah.
it a seal, but it's also a logo. It also works as a logo. So, medyo fluid siya, if that makes sense. Pero a coat of arms usually defines an institution's history. Say if your school, if your institution came from tawag dito, a religious order, ganyan, or came from the King of Spain, mga ganun. So it usually has it has a lot of heraldic qualities and follows European heraldic traditions. So ano yan, nagagaling pa yan sa time of kings and queens sa Europe. So yun yung ano, that's a, kasi before logos were invented, there were already like coat of arms. Parang it shows like what family do you belong, what country do you belong, 'di ba? And yung coat of arms din, yeah, it shows the history, it shows the background, it has a lot of symbolisms. And the seal is like kung ito ang coat of arms, ito ang seal. Ang seal is just like think of it as like a signature, like a company signature. It what it's what makes a document official. So like diplomas, certificates, ordinances, laging may seal, seal of good governance, 'di ba? Ganun siya. So, but inside that seal, usually it's the coat of arms. Ganun, parang inaano lang siya. Parang siya lang yung nag-officiate talaga ng document na yan. Ang logo naman is a modern invention. So, a logo, of course, we see it mostly in marketing, in brands, we see it a lot in merchandises. So, usually institutions would have a separate seal, like an official seal, and they would also have a logo. Yung official seal, lalagay nila sa mga documents, ganyan talaga, mga diplomas, mga um, ordinances. Pero ang logo, mas ginagamit nila sa marketing. Parang mas public facing lang si logo. But there are some institutions that combine both. 'Di ba? Like
Mhm.
UP has the same seal. It's also technically their logo. It's just one thing. Ayun. So medyo fluid yung ano niya, yung use case ng coat of arms, seal at ng logo. Yan.
Sa mga ano ba, yung sa mga flags ng iba-ibang countries kasi 'di ba yung iba hindi lang naman siya mga colors, yung iba parang may mga symbol dun or
Yeah, it's
something.
usually coat of
So
arms.
yun, coat of arms yung
Coat of
okey.
arms yun, yeah. Usually, di ko of course depende anong country ba, 'di ba? So, yeah.
So may mga videos ka nga na ano, as you mentioned earlier, yung nag-rank ka ng mga government seals, 'di ba? So can you share bakit ka may interest sa mga ganitong bagay, yung mga logos, seals, coat of arms?
Ayun. Nag-start kasi ako sa TikTok. I mean, I started as a content creator when before nagbe-breakdown lang ako ng mga logos, ganyan, ng mga brands, ng mga marketing campaigns. And then I don't know if it was just maybe one of like my viewers or what who asked like, "Oh, do the PAGCOR logo. Do the ganyan and then do the government." He was like, sige nga, let's talk about it." And I'm genuinely fascinated with coat of arms because it's the OG logos. It's the OG graphic design. Because before graphic design ever became a profession, even before it was called graphic design, may ganyan na, may coat of arms na. It's the first ever like visual system that we had. It's the historical visual system. And na-fascinate ako kasi um yung what we know about graphic design, the rules that we follow about graphic design and even creative direction can also stem from coat of arms, 'di ba? Kasi these are basically symbolisms of great institutions. So dun talaga ako na-fascinate. Kaya ako, that's why, pero I'm not, guys, I'm not a heraldist. I don't make coat of arms. So yun, I'm just a fan of all of these studies. And I like researching about it. Yun.
Pero diyan curious ako kasi as you mentioned, 'di ba, dati-dati pa may mga coat of arms. So paano nila, and I'm sure may mga common characteristics ito, common design concepts. So, nung dating-dating panahon, paano sila nakakapag-come up na medyo magkakamuka or may something similar dun sa mga designs na
'Di
ginagawa nila?
ba? Imagine that, 'di ba nung unang panahon siguro medieval times, yung mga ano, time ng mga hari tsaka mga reyna, 'di ba? Ang galing naman nila na na they were able to consolidate the designs and make sure na ano, na lahat consistent. And imagine,
Hmm.
of course, wala pang computers that time. Baka wala pang ang printing press that time. So they had to do it, ano, tawag dito, they had to carve it in stone. So,
Hmm.
imagine that, 'di ba? Kaya that's why it's also very fascinating, to me how they do it. But there is a study in heraldry. Like you can literally study, like it's a course, and it's something that's
Hmm.
passed from like centuries. And there's only one, the very first Filipino heraldist is Dr. Galo, the late Dr. Galo Ocampo. So, 'di ba, I talk about him a lot on my content because I'm so fascinated with him. He created the Great Seal of the Philippines, yung nakikita mo sa passport natin. He created FEU, the Manila City seal, and pa ba? Actually, halos lahat. Parang siya yung nag-oversee ng seals natin. Yeah, so siya yung ano, he's the first ever Filipino who studied heraldry he went to Europe to really study it. So ginamit niya lahat ng learnings niya na yun, and he basically created the visual system of the Philippines. Kaya parang sa akin, he is the OG graphic designer. Siya ang parang in my mind, siya ang sinaunang graphic designer. Kaya ako na-fascinate sa kanya. Ayun.
So, after this long history ng paggawa ng mga ganitong designs, no, ano, may mga common ano ba? Ano yung mga nakikita nyo na mga common design concepts na ginagamit ng mga seals na ganito?
It really varies. Nafa-fascinate ako kasi in other countries, iba-iba yung ano natin, yung representation natin ng sun. The sun, 'di ba? Parang say sun in Myanmar looks different in Japan, looks different compared to the Philippines. Our sun is very distinct because it borrows um the son of KKK, 'di ba? Yung Katipunan. So it kind of borrows the symbolisms of that. Kaya yun yung nakikita natin sa flag natin. Also, interestingly, in the Philippines, we have a lot of colonial symbolisms. A lot. Like we have the American bald eagle, and then you also have the ultramar, or yung lion which represents Spain. So it really shows how colonialism made a massive impact in our history, that it's still in our coat of arms up to now. A lot of our Southeast Asian neighbors, tinanggal nila yung mga colonial symbolisms nila, and they really embraced their Asian heritage. So, kaya kung titingnan mo lahat ng Southeast Asian coat of arms, tayo yung pinaka-Western looking. Kahit sa layout, in the mismong element. So, mapapansin natin, even kahit yung mga LGUs natin, 'di ba, parang it even borrows a lot of colonial symbolisms. Yeah.
Kailangan bang circle talaga yung design ng mga ganitong
Mga seal,
ah,
hindi. Hindi naman. Pero parang, di ko alam kung bakit nga ba, majority ng seal. Like, I think that's yun yung pinaka-standard, di ba? Like, when you make it a circle, it's a seal. And it's easy to replicate. It's easy to make it a stamp kapag bilog. Kaysa naman, imagine mo kung gagawa ka ng kunwari heart, random heart. Tas yun yung gagamitin mo pang stamp, 'di ba? Hindi siya medyo mahirap siyang ano yun, madali rin kasi siyang, i-replicate, madali siyang, gawin. So if ever it's a circle. Hindi na I don't think it's necessary to make it circle. I mean, just look at the QC seal, it's a triangle. So it's,
hmm.
ano pa ba? Actually, dami namang seal na hindi bilog, eh. Lasal. De La Salle ba or I think LSGH, Lasal Green Hills. I think they use sila yung pinakamalapit sa Lasal coat of arms. Para siyang ganito yung shape ng ano ng
Ah.
Lasal. I think Zobel ganun din. Parang pareho ata ng yung lahat ng mga Lasal. A lot of the Lasal schools same sila. Tapos you have the knight and then the star na symbol ni Lasal. So ayun. It di naman siya kailangan laging bilog.
Sa mga ganitong designs, of course, may certain level of subjectivity kung maganda
Yes.
or hindi maganda yung design, no? Pero may mga objective ba na mga parameters, like for example, symmetry, saturation or something?
Of course.
May mga ganun ba?
Of course, there is. You know, in graphic design, there is some people could say that it's just subjective na na tawag dito that it looks like dahil sinasabi mo lang maganda yan kasi taste mo or like ano mo lang para sa'yo maganda ganyan. But no, it's not. Like I think if you're a designer, you can tell what a good design looks like. If you're not a designer, like it will look different from a standard of say a designer. And when it comes to coat of arms, even more so, there's literally a study of heraldry. Like people really take courses on how to study symbols and heraldry. So I don't know exactly how many rules and what those rules are. Napakadaming rules, even stricter than graphic design itself, than how we design logos. So yeah, it is but from what I know as a creative, what I know is of course, ang importante when we look at something, it has to communicate what it wants to communicate. If you're trying to communicate that this is our history, this is our heritage, it should resonate in the design. It shouldn't be just maganda lang siya tingnan. It has to showcase your what you're trying to say, because every single design naman out there is a piece of communication. Yun yung pinaka baseline ko lagi. What is it trying to communicate?
May mga government seals ba or mga logos na hindi nagbago centuries or wala? Sa Philippines or abroad, meron ba?
Oo naman, madami. Madami. I mean, for example, look at the coat of arms of UK. Yung as in the king of England. Yun, it hasn't changed in centuries. Sa atin, if you look at the institutions, UST being, 'di ba, UST is the oldest school in Southeast Asia, tama ba? Yun, sa oldest school, 'di ba, in Southeast Asia si UST.
400 plus?
Yeah, 400 plus. Sobrang nag-change lang siya, dinigital lang nila, pero the same elements are there. Barely changed. Yun. So maraming, and that's the mark of a good design. That you don't need to keep changing it in every season and every era. It's not supposed to be trendy. That's what I keep saying in my videos. Like, this is a coat of arms. It's not supposed to look like kung ano yung trending color ngayon, ano yung trending design style ngayon. It's not supposed to follow that at all. It's supposed to last for, as what you said, centuries. Yeah.
Ay, so speaking about that, ito, ngayon ko lang to naisip. So for example, ako lalapit ako sa'yo magpapagawa ng design concept ng logo, for example, ng podcast. Ano yung naisip mo na pwedeng design nung seal or logo nung Behind the Science podcast? Anong mga information na kailangan mo in order to come up sa design?
Yeah. Of course, number one, I would love to know, this is a fairly new podcast, right? Like, kailan ka ba what year did you start? Ano yung
3
history?
years ago.
3 years. What's the background? What's your objective? Like, ano yung parang pinaka motto mo? Ano yung pinaka goal mo sa podcast na to? Parang ano yung pinaglalaban mo? Ganon, di ba? Parang what's your ikigai? Ganon. And what's your ano pa ba? what are, siguro since it's a podcast, what are some of the highest performing episodes that you have? What are some of the highest, what are the types of episodes that people keep coming back to? And what are, ayun, ano yung mga siguro videos that you're very passionate about, or like subjects that you're in your podcast that you're very passionate about? Kasi that would really inform the design of your seal or your logo, kasi it represents who you are. And also I would say, parang, oh, if you have pegs, then I would also ask for pegs. Kunwari, saan ka ano yung mga types of logo seals na gandang-ganda ka? Na could even be a competitor. It could even be, it doesn't even have to relate to your science podcast. It could be ano, pero para lang makita rin natin yung level of taste mo. Ano yung para sa what looks good, or for you what best represent your brand.
Sa mga ganito ba, may mga for example, certain number of color combinations na gusto mo, or pwedeng isang color lang, blah blah blah?
Um It really varies, pero definitely less is more when it comes to logos, because you have to consider that when you're using a logo, you're using it in various materials, not just digital. You could use it for print, to print documents, diba? And you have to consider the different devices that will show this logo. It has to be legible in like very, very small size. It has to be legible. If you have too many colors, you have too many elements, paano nila maiintindihan yung ganito kaliit, 'di ba? So that has to be legible. It has to be understandable. Sa isang tingin, I understand, oh, it's a science podcast. So it has to showcase all of those, considerations.
Ay, going back sa sa topic natin ng mga government seals. Ano sa iyo yung pinakamagandang seal na nakita mo, at ano yung pinaka weird?
Pinaka-weird. Parang masyadong maraming weird sa Pilipinas. I would say my favorite one is QC. It's QC talaga. Wala, unang-una triangle siya. It's a showstopper. Ano talaga kasi triangle, 'di ba? Lahat bilog. So siya talaga yung standout kasi siya yung triangle. But it's not, but the way that they chose a triangle. By the way, the one who designed this is Luciano V. Aquino, hindi si Galo Ocampo. But Galo Ocampo was parang nag-oversee siya kasi siya yung parang nag-lead ng heraldry ng Pilipinas. So it was Luciano V. Aquino who designed the seal of QC. And it doesn't feel gimmicky. They didn't choose triangle just because, just to be different. No, they chose triangle because QC was supposed to be, or was actually, diba, the supposed capital of the Philippines. Diba, minove kasi from Manila, ginawang QC for a time, ilang years, parang 30, 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. So yung triangle na yun, I love the balance, the symmetry of it. You have the monument of QC, and it's using it as a barrier, as a divider of the red and the blue colors. It feels nationalistic without looking too cliche, without looking too much like it's replicating the Philippine flag or even the presidential seal. I love the symbolisms. It's three because it represents the three branches of the government. Kasi nga, capital, diba? It was supposed to be the capital of the Philippines. So, nandun yung parang supposedly three branches of government. And even the monument, kahit yung architecture, diba? Yung QC circle, diba? Yung triangle na yun. Parang, inaano niya, it's directly related to the seal. Kaya, parang, ang ganda ng niya, na consistent yung branding niya, consistent siya sa kung ano yung nakikita mo mismo sa QC. And it also has a gavel, which represents the legislation, kasi 'di ba nandun si batasan, and nandun din yung lamp of knowledge, and isa to sa mga common symbolism sa mga seals, yung lamp, parang genie lamp. It represents the lamp of knowledge because of UP. Yeah. So ayun, ang napakasimple lang niya. Kung papansinin mo, onti lang yung elements niya, but it clearly defines what QC is, what their history, what's the vision for QC.
Yung pinaka-weird.
My God, sa totoo lang, dami talagang weird eh. Like, ang dami
Yung isa
talaga.
sa video mo nakita, yung Bulacan ba yun? Yung balot na?
Hindi Bulacan yun. Ano yun?
Ah,
Pateros? Pateros nga ba? Search nga ba natin? Pateros nga ba yung ano? Pateros. Tama. Ayun, yeah. Bayan ng Pateros. Ano yan? Kasi siya ang balot capital ng ano, ng... alam mo, kahit ganyan yung itsura niya, I respect it. I respect the design. Kasi yung ano pala, yung number of eggs pala daw na yun, or number of balot na yun, it's the number of barangays of the seal. I mean, it's I respect it even if it's odd. It's very unique na balot ganun. Yeah.
Tapos parang sketch lang siya no?
Yeah, sketch lang siya. Sana nga, sabi ko, ang ganda ng, ano, I see the potential. 'Di ba? We see the potential of the seal. Imagine mo kung i-digital pa nila or i-vectorize pa talaga nila yun. I can imagine na mas gaganda siya. Like, I don't mind that it's a duck and the balot. I mean, I see the vision. Yeah.
Sa work mo ba, may mga moments na, for example, kapag binalikan mo yung design na ginawa mo a few months or a few years ago, parang napapaisip ka na hindi siya ganun ka ganda
Oo
as
naman.
expected?
Of course, absolutely. Feeling ko lahat. Wow, ganun. Hindi naman lahat. Of course, meron naman din akong works na proud ako, ganun. Kasi I know how hard, how difficult it was, ganun. Or like the team really worked hard on it. So of course, we have to be proud of it, ganun. Of course, I think especially if you look at works that I did years ago, it'd be like, oh my God, parang cringe ka na, parang, Kasi in the it shows growth. For you to be able to feel that way, it means that your taste is going up then. Na nag-evolve din yung taste mo. And you have to keep, your taste has to keep going up as you grow, 'di ba? Kailangan nag-ano tayo, nag-evolve yung tawag dito, yung craft, yung both craft and yung taste natin.
Medyo relate din ako dyan, although hindi ako designer, pero minsan pag binabalikan ko yung mga figures sa mga research papers ko before, ang pangit naman ng
Diba?
pagkagawa ko dito.
Yeah, so it's not just on creatives, pero I think you could relate to that in any aspect of your life. You know, if you grow out of something, kahit nga relationship, 'di ba? Kunwari may ex ka ganyan, tapos parang ay cringe, bakit ko nga ba ginawa to? So, 'di ba? But it's because it's also your previous self. You were younger, you didn't know any better, 'di ba? So we grow out of things. Yun.
Ngayon naman siguro punta naman natin yung more on sa content creation side naman ng ginagawa mo. Is this part pa ba ito ng work mo sa Canva or independent mo
No,
itong
this
ginagawa?
is totally different. Yeah.
So, how do you come up dun sa mga video ideas mo?
Yeah. On video ideas, it always starts with curiosity. So some of the videos that I create, I think a lot of the videos I create then kasi some of my viewers would comment and say like, oh, do this next. Oh, study this next. How about this? What can you say on this? Yun talaga inaano ko, yung sinasave ko talaga yung mga comments na yun. Tas parang, I would use that as a baseline for my next content. And minsan kasi when you, for example, someone asked me about why does the BPI why do BPI branches look like Jollibee branches? 'Di ba? Parang bakit sila magkamukha? So while I was researching about that, while I was creating my content about that, I learned more. I learned a little bit more about architecture. Oh, maybe I could make more videos about architecture. So it branches out talaga. But it always starts with curiosity. Even sa akin, if there are any pressing societal issues that we have right now that really resonate with me, na parang I feel like I have to say something about this, or like um or I feel like there's a lot of misinformation about a certain topic or a certain issue. I feel like I have to shed light on maybe a different angle or the bigger picture of things. So yeah, it starts with curiosity, and then I would have my own take on it. I'd write my script and I have my own take on it, and of course I do research to double check na parang you know what do news outlets say about it, or what does science say about these things. Yeah.
Paano mo ginagawa yung mga script? Like may target ka ba na dapat yung duration niya hanggang ganitong minutes lang
Alam mo,
or wala
mahirap
naman?
talaga. Sa totoo lang, mahirap. I like writing scripts. I was trained to write scripts. So I studied
Mm.
that. So, with the writing scripts naman, hindi ko siya kunwari sinulat ko na yung script ko. Minsan kasi sobrang dense ng content na ang dami ko talagang references na pull, ang dami kong mga articles, mga videos na nabasa, napanood, gano'n. So, dami ko talagang links. Ang challenge talaga sa'kin is how to compress it in in a short video. It's
Hmm.
always so challenging to do that because you can't squeeze every single nuance in one
Oo.
video. But at the same time, ibabalance as a content creator, ibabalance mo din yun na you don't wanna put every single nuance and information in one video. People will info overload yung viewers mo, and they'd end up not even watching the video, or they would like scroll off. So that's also a consideration. Kaya I try to keep things light so people can ask more questions. And maybe when they need a follow-up, sige, let's do a part 2, or let's do like further explanation on it. Ano din siya eh, parang um dun mo rin matetest mo rin na, is there interest on this particular topic, and then maybe we could make another video out of it. Yun. So that's how I approach things right now. So it really is a challenge. And kunwari nagsulat na ako ng full-on script. Kapag i-video ko na yung sarili ko, biglang, ay, hala, ano na ako, 10 minutes na tong video na to. Ganun. Nako, ganun. So, yeah, adjust ko din. So, like, how I would say, record myself, say on TikTok, ganyan. It's not exactly how I wrote it. Kasi it also depends on how I would deliver it din. So, hindi siya like word per word na
Mm.
gagawin ko yung script na sinulat ko. It's like how I would
Parang
also
may
casually,
outline ka lang?
yeah,
May
outline.
outline and then
Parang more
yun
on outline
okay.
lang siya. Yeah, ayun.
May mga moments ba na nakatanggap ka ng backlash dun sa
Oh,
mga
yeah.
ina-upload mo?
All the time. All the time. That's so normal for me. Joke, ganun. I think, sabi ko nga, if I have any video that reaches, like maybe, ang baseline ko parang if it reaches 300,000 and above, there will always be backlash. Kasi it means na napupunta yung content ko sa hindi ko usual audience, eh. Especially 'pag
Mm.
mag-viral, nag-millions, ganyan. Maraming ano, maraming mga magka-criticize sa video ko, and it comes with content creation talaga. Because people will scrutinize your analysis on things. People will scrutinize on how you understand things, especially sa education realm ng content creation.
Kailan ka unang nag-upload ng video at kailan mo na-realize na parang, "Uy, seryoso na 'to na dumadami yung
Mm.
reach mo?"
Yeah, yeah. First video. Actually, yung first ever video ko, I was teaching about fundamentals of graphic design. Yeah, I think it was a pandemic when I tried to do it. Pero I wasn't kasi even before I was a content creator, I already give talks and workshops. I teach design, I talk about advertising, I talk about design principles whenever I give talks and workshops. So it's almost like an extension lang of what I do sa mga workshops na to. So I I did like I would do like basics on layout, like mga ganun, basics on or color, basics on hierarchy and stuff. And um yung nag-blow up siya when I started, ano ba, when I shared that I was an art director and that I work at Canva, and people became so interested, like I was surprised that not a lot of people know what art director means. So people were very, very fascinated. What does that mean? Like, how is that different from a graphic designer? How is that different from a creative director? That time, I was like 5 years ago, I think. So, dun nag-grow. People were like really asking questions, ganon. At first, I thought it was like more on the fascination towards Canva. But no, people were interested about what do you do? What is that role? And then I started talking more about it and it just grew and grew. And then the people started giving me posters, people started giving me logos na parang, ano masasabi mo dito? Ano masasabi mo dito? Yun na, doon na talaga siya nag-grow.
May ano ba, may benchmark ka ba dun sa number of following mo na sinabi mo na parang, uy, seryoso na to, like 5,000, 10,000 or something?
It's not followers for me, it's engagement. It's the views. So parang I think I hit like that. It always starts with one video, that one video that kind of peaked. It was I think I got like around 100,000 views in a day for that video. And I only had like maybe 1,000 followers lang or less that time, ganon. Which is like, again, pandemic na pa nung time na yun. Tas, when I did follow-ups and I did, and I think I even, called I have another friend who's also a content creator and I was like freaking out. I was like, what do I do? What's this? Ganun. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. Parang, ang daming nagtatanong, ang daming nagko-comment and all. Tapos sinabi sa akin ng friend ko na, "Uy, tuloy-tuloy mo na 'yan, seryosohin mo na 'yan." Gano'n. Tapos sabi ko, "Ha? Okey, what do I do?" Tapos sabi niya, "Post everyday." That time, post everyday, pero hindi naman ako nagpo-post everyday.
Grabe, nakakapagod yung everyday.
Oo, nakakapagod yung everyday talaga, mabu-burnout ka. So, and I did, and like every video was like always on the 10,000s range to 100,000 that time. So, and then like in a year, actually yung growth ko, medyo mabagal nga yung growth ko yung follower growth ko before. Parang, kasi na-realize ko rin, graphic design is also kind of a niche. So, mabagal yung, parang siguro mga first year ko, naka 10 to 20,000 ako nung first year ko. Yeah. So, medyo mabagal siya actually. So, 5 years-ish na ako ngayon sa content creation. And I only have like, on TikTok, I only have 130K plus followers. So, medyo, I had peaks, definitely. I had peaks. Like, nagiging highly engaging ako depende sa era ng buhay ko, ganun. Or kung ano yung topics ko. Yeah.
Ayun, so almost 1 hour na rin tayo. So
Oo
kailangan
nga.
natin kailangan natin mag-wrap up.
Yes, yes.
So, ayun, so since yung podcast, isa siyang science podcast and usually nagfi-feature kami ng mga research papers. So curious ako, if ikaw bigyan ka ng chance na gumawa ng study or thesis about dito sa mga government seals, ano yung naiisip mong gawin?
Oh, wow. Actually, I would love to. I would love to create like a actually, iniisip ko nga, alam mo, that's what seals. I would love to make a study or even write a book about the late Dr. Galo Ocampo. That's one. I would love to learn more about his design sensibilities, his vision for like a creative for like the Filipino visual system. I would love to learn more about that. That's one. So if connected to like government seals and coat of arms. But I think more besides that, I would love to learn about the fascination of Filipinos sa minimalism. Kung mapapansin mo, a lot of Pinoys love to design their homes, love to like design copying a lot of like Japanese minimalist interior design architecture, ganyan, 'di ba? Like everyone's like so fascinated with the Japanese aesthetic. And it's and the reason we're like that because the Philippines is inherently maximalist. Lumabas ka lang sa bahay mo, 'di ba? Parang wow, puro puro spaghetti wires, puro mga ano, ang gulo-gulo ng mga gusali natin, wala tayong sidewalk and all. And that and I wonder if that the desire for minimalism is directly related um to how we are really like na napaka-maximalist ng buhay natin. Yeah, and also like siguro mga pre-colonial designs have we always been inherently maximalist? Yan. So maybe something on that. I don't know. Yeah.
Ay, ito may random idea lang ako sa mga audience natin na nakikinig. And in connection sa mga design, and curious ako kung may kinalaman ba yung kung gaano kaganda yung figures ng isang research papers para mas basahin siya ng mga tao. So, ayun lang. Kasi minsan pag tumitingin ako ng mga research papers sa figures yung una kong tinitingnan kung maintindihan ko siya, binabasa ko yung papers. So, may kinalaman ba yung mga figures na yun kung gaano kadalas basahin at i-cite ng mga tao yung mga papers na may magandang figures? And sa audience natin, na
Interesting,
may inkling sa ganun.
Interesting din yun. Magandang study din yun. Parang a research on research papers. Yeah.
So, ayun, since 1 hour na tayo, last question, Yula, ano ang mga ma-advise mo sa mga aspiring creatives?
My advice for aspiring creatives is don't feel defeated by rejections and by like your failures. Don't get easily feel defeated by it. So if there's anything that I learned about being creative, it's really our resilience to take feedback and to take criticism, even if we don't like them and even if we don't agree with them, and to take that as a means to get better in our craft and to find better ways to communicate our ideas or our creative ideas. So it's really resilience of creatives. It's not all about craft, it's not all about the skill and your taste, it's also your ability to communicate your ideas to kung sino man, clients mo or like general public or like followers niyo or something like that. It's at the end of the day, it really is about communication, and I think communication is such an important skill for creatives, because even if we live in a visual world, how you can stand out as a creative is how your ability to also influence and give value to your audience. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's always strive for value sa mga dinidesign natin. Yeah.
And last question, do you have anything to promote?
Sa promotion, ano naman? Just follow me. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Yula Araulio. On TikTok and Instagram, I'm at Yula Explains. So if you want to learn more about design breakdowns, logo breakdowns, yung mga coat of arms, but kung hindi ka masyadong interested sa coat of arms, I also talk about current events and my take on those things. So yeah, follow at Yula Explains on Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook.
Ayun, so I guess hanggang dito na lang muna tayo. Maraming salamat kay Yula sa pagpapunlak ng aming invitation. And of course, maraming salamat sa lahat ng nakinig at nanood. See you everyone next week. Madami pa tayong pag-uusapan na research na ginagawa ng ating mga Pinoy scientists and other topics as well na you may find educational. So kung nag-enjoy kayo dito, please paki-rate naman tayo ng 5 stars sa Spotify para mas madami pa tayong mabot na audience. So, ayun lang. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.